Hello and welcome back to Pennies and Salt. I'm Megan, and today I'm going to be participating in a collaboration with several other ladies. You will be able to find the playlist down in the description below, and I will also post links to all the other ladies' channels as well, so make sure that you check them out. They are all homeschooling mamas. In fact, the video today is 5 reasons why I chose to homeschool. I will preface and say it wasn't just my choice. My husband and I actually came to the choice together. And so I will go ahead and put that out there. But let's get into this. And first I will kind of give a little introduction, and that my channel is all about large family life. We have 6 children. The oldest is 9 and the youngest is 2 months old. And so yeah, on our channel you will find anything having to do with meal planning, grocery hauls, homeschooling, just large family life in general, just kind of a plethora of anything and everything, adventures that we go on, field trips, things like that. So that's what you'll find here. So we would love for you to subscribe so that you can join us in other videos. But let's get to what the whole subject of this video is about, and that is why we chose to homeschool. So, little backstory here. I used to teach public school, and I actually taught public school for over 7 years. I taught a total of 8 years because I taught in a private Christian school when I first started teaching. So, there's that. During college and when I first started teaching, I really did not see anything wrong with public school. I think that people can have good experiences with public school. I think that there are good things, or that there can be good things about it, depending on where you are. I know that there is one school in our area in particular, even though it's in our large county, it's so far out in the county that most of the teachers there are Christian, and it's got a very, very strong community influence, and it really is almost identical to what you would find in a private Christian school. But I know that that's actually more of an exception to the whole public school thing than to actually be what the norm is. So, fast forward a little. So I taught public school, and I didn't ever see anything wrong with it. I thought, I'm a product of public school, and I turned out great, and there's, nothing wrong with public school. But when I found out that I was expecting, and actually that's part of the story too, is we did have a little struggle with fertility issues in the beginning. We thought we would just be able to have a child like all of our friends were having. And it turned into a little bit of a struggle. In fact, we were prescribed fertility meds. I was too afraid to ever take them. And I'm glad that I didn't, because I actually found out that I was pregnant like a month after being prescribed the fertility meds. But as soon as I found out, I was so excited. And when he was born, I was completely grieved because, well, I was very excited, of course, that he was born, but I was very grieved to think about having to go back to work, which I know is normal for many mothers, but it was really the start of a very strong conviction that the Lord was laying on my heart and my husband's heart. And there's a lot that kind of goes along with this, and I won't get long-winded about it, but basically God put a lot of situations and people in our lives that exposed us more to homeschooling, but also that I have no doubt in my mind the Lord used to continue to strengthen that conviction in our hearts. There was a lot of scripture in certain situations and things like that that kept coming up, And I just kept fighting the conviction. And a lot of the fight against the conviction to homeschool came because of financial reasons. Because John and I both, and if you hear sounds, he's having a dad moment over there. He's totally playing Mario on the Wii that we have had for 10 years. 10 years. I think I got it for him like 2 years into our marriage for his birthday. Obviously, it was before we had kids. But we get it out once in a while and let the kids play. And so he's totally playing Mario. So if you hear those sounds, there you go. Okay, so anyway, about the conviction that I was fighting. I just continued to fight against it, and a lot of it was rooted in the financial realm of things, is that we just kept saying, oh, we can't because of financial reasons. There's no way. All that kind of stuff. Well, we kept fighting. Then our second son was born less than 2 years later. And again, same strong conviction. It was even stronger. And I just kept fighting it. And I wouldn't even really talk to Jonathan about it. Like, it was just something that we just didn't really talk about. We just kind of said, oh, well, when they start school, we will send them to the private Christian school at the church we used to go to. And so that was kind of where that went. All that to say, it grew and it grew and it grew. We became foster parents. And we adopted that little guy. And then we had our fourth, which is our daughter Sophia. And I can remember right before she was born, my plan was to go back after, I think, 8 weeks was the plan. I was going to take 8 weeks off. And I can remember absolutely having like a complete breakdown. I just became so overcome with conviction from fighting it so long. And also, I think pregnancy hormones played into that a little bit, but I have no doubt that the Lord used that timing for a reason. But I just got to the point where I just like was literally having like an anxiety attack, basically, over the thought of having to go back to school after she was going to be born. And so John just looked at me calmly. Here I am, like all upset. And John just looked at me calmly and said, so don't go back. And I was like, what do you mean don't go back? It's not that easy. And I was like, we can't financially. And I still vividly remember that whole conversation. But he was just calm, cool, and collected. And he was like, just, you don't have to go back. And so we even did our finances on paper that night and everything. I remember we stayed up so late that night, did our finances on paper, and it didn't work out. But John and I both came to the realization that if the Lord has pressed upon our hearts the conviction for me to stay home and to homeschool our children, then the Lord would provide. And he has. There are months when I'm like, I don't know how it's happened, but, we've survived. But the Lord has always provided. He's been so faithful. And so that really, I'm supposed to give 5 reasons why we homeschool. But really, that is the reason we homeschool, is just that strong conviction. Now, there's a lot of things that could kind of branch off of that. Like, we want our children to have more of a gospel-focused education. So that's another reason. We also, a perk is that we love the flexibility. I started our homeschool year July 15th, which I think is the earliest date I could have started it with our homeschool umbrella. But we started it then so that way, if we get into the year and we need to take a little bit of a break, we can do that because we've got that extra time built in. If we go on vacation, which probably won't happen because that involves money and that's not happening. But, you know, if that were to happen, we have the ability to do that. We've done that in the past when we have been able to go on vacation. So the flexibility, that's huge. Okay, so the other huge reason for homeschooling, which was not a reason until we started to homeschool, is the fact that you can tailor your child's education to whatever curriculum works for them. This is huge, especially since, for example, my two oldest boys, 9 and 7 years old. One had no issue with reading. The second one, he's very smart, but he has had a really difficult time grasping and retaining the mechanics of reading. And we finally, after, I think this is our 4th program that we have tried with him, and we started it over a year ago, and we've been going very, very slowly through it. But it has been life-changing for him. He's gained confidence. He's gained a huge, come by leaps and bounds, ability-wise, in reading. We were getting nowhere with the other ones, and this one, he is able to read. And so I will probably do a separate video on that program just because I've completely fallen in love with it. I think the methods that they use are huge and they are key to success. And I say all the time, if we had used this in our public school, then the kids who struggled with reading probably would not have been struggling once they started this program. So anyway, rabbit trail. But yes, being able to tailor curriculum to your child's needs is absolutely huge. Even if I have so many friends that, here's another rabbit trail. I have so many friends that say, oh, I can't homeschool. You used to be a teacher. Of course you can homeschool. You can homeschool. Even if you use, there's Bob Jones Academy or Abeka Academy, which is done online, you don't even have to do anything. They do the teaching on there. Your kid logs in. They do it that way. So yes, it is possible if you want to homeschool. I know in our area we have 2 options for hybrid. They call them hybrid homeschool co-ops, where they go 2 to 3 days a week. And there's actual teachers that teach the set curriculum, which is usually I know one uses a mixture of Abeka and Bob Jones, depending on the grade, and a few other things. Anyway, they do 2 to 3 days a week there, and then the other days at home. So yes, it is possible. So I know that I could come up with many other reasons. I definitely could, but I'm going to stick with those, and I know that's not even quite 5. I think I came up with 4. But yes. Oh, we'll just stick this one in there. Field trips. Unlimited field trips. If you're learning about something, you can go directly to that place or do something to directly experience it. Hands-on learning, absolutely all about it, especially in the early years. So yes, there's my last one. So I did come up with 5. But anyway, as I was saying, seek the Lord, talk to your spouse. Just really, don't second guess your ability, because the Lord, if He is calling you to do something, He will supply you with what you need to be able to do it. And so if you have any questions, or if you want to share your reasons in the comments below of why you chose to homeschool, I would love to hear that. I love to hear people's reasons. I think that that is a part of our testimony, but also just a really neat way to share just about your parenting and your life, and to get to know people better. So if you do homeschool, put that down there, or if you've thought about it, if whatever. I would love to hear about it in the comments below, and I appreciate you stopping by tonight. I hope that this was added value to the time that you spent here, and I hope to see you back. Just click that subscribe button. We would love to have you. Thank you, and have a great evening.